Okay, so welcome back, guys. Still on Borderlands 2. This is the gear portion of my video. So, I already explained we're going to be doing all the quests, and there's a lot of them. And I covered the skills, but I haven't covered the gear, so that's what I'm going to be covering in this video. And there's a lot. So let's start, before we get into weapons, let's just go into shields. So, should we go into shields? Okay, we'll go with grenades. No. We'll go into... There's so much to go into. Okay, yeah, we'll start with shields. They're the defensive thing, right? So you see my health bar, and you see that blue health bar. That blue health bar is my shield. I was talking in the last video about Grim. Grim is Zero's only survival skill, and Grim affects your shield. So you need a good shield. So, what's my shields? Personally, I have 3 shields. But really, I only use one. The blockade is my main shield of choice. There are other shields in the game, and they're all great. But personally, this is the shield I use the most often. It has great stats. Well, any legendary shield will have great stats. But this shield in particular has some of the highest stats. Even among shields with good stats, this shield has high stats. And it provides 17% damage resistance in like flat. It's supposed to... You can read the shield on the card, and you'll see what it does. But I'm gonna tell you straight up, it's incorrect. I don't know what went wrong in the development stage for this shield, but it was supposed to provide like 50% damage resistance when it's fully charged, and when it breaks, it was supposed to stop providing damage resistance. And as the shield gets weaker, it was supposed to provide less and less damage resistance, going from 50 down, right? So you have 50% damage resistance. Any attack that comes in is half, and then the shield starts breaking and you lose your damage resistance. So that's the way the shield's supposed to work, but that's not how it actually works. It gives you a flat 17% damage reduction, which it's still pretty good. But what I personally like about it is the shield has good stats already, like I keep saying. And that damage resistance applies to your health as well, which is a big deal, because you'll notice the weapon's like level requirement at the top. It says overpowered 10. So what level am I? I'm level 80, right? What level is this guy? Level 90. And he's an enemy. Luckily, this one can't do anything. But enemies that can do things, that can hurt you, will. They're doing level 90 damage. I'm a level 80 character, so I need a level 90 shield to keep up. So, how do I keep up? Damage resistance. If less of that damage is actually getting to me, then I don't need to worry about it so much. And like I keep saying, the shield has among the best stats in the game. So yeah, the shield just... it's really basic in terms of how it works, but in a good way. So yeah. So a level 80 shield. I actually need to get this at level 90, or level overpowered level 10, depends on how you interpret it. But I only have it at level 80, so it is what it is. But why do I have this shield? Like, why do I want a shield like this? Well, it recharges fast, and the shield is actually kind of small among legendary shields. So it's on the weaker side, but it has one of the best effects a shield can ever have in this game. So there are multiple different shield varieties, and one of them in the game is the chance to absorb bullets. And most of them top out at 25%. So you get shot 4 times, 1 out of every 4 shots you're gonna absorb. Now witness the sham shield. So read the card. Chance to absorb enemy bullets. Wow, I can do this all day. It doesn't seem too special until you look at the absorb chance. The absorb chance is 94%. That means if an enemy shot you 100 times, only 6 bullets would actually hit you. Now granted, even 1 bullet passing through it will most likely break this shield because, well, it's at the incorrect level and it's a weak shield. But even if this shield was level 1, I would still carry it around because it has a 94% chance to ignore bullet damage. Now, specifically bullet damage, right? Because bullets aren't the only thing that are hitting you in this game. But they're the vast majority of things that are hitting you in this game. So, this shield, it's situational. As crazy as that is to say, it's situational. The shield is really good, but if you're not fighting enemies that have guns, equip something else. That's why personally, I like the blockade, because it gives me that damage resistance against everything. Bullets, explosions, bite attacks, claw attacks, you know, earthquake attacks, whatever, right? A lot of things hit you in this game. So the Sham's a good shield, but not the best. So the Fabled Tortoise. This is actually a little difficult to explain why I have. So I'll explain this after. So I'll get into the class mods. What do class mods do? They give you stats, like bonus stats, and they give you skills, and sometimes they'll even have a special effect on top of giving you bonus stats and skills. So you can see it gives me cooldown rate, which is a big deal because none of Zero's class mods give him anywhere near this amount of cooldown rate. So, and cooldown, you know, is your deception. So you want to have your deception up all the time. This helps with that. Plus, one little thing, look at Zero's elbows right here, on the character. Now look at them. They're gold, and yeah, you gain them. Not a big deal, but I think it's a cool visual effect. Anyway, so so it gives you a 40% cooldown rate. That's a big deal. It gives you 31% critical hit damage, which is separated from your skills. So I went into the skills the other day, talking about like how critical hit is really good. This is on top of the critical damage you already have, so it's really good. And bonus reload speed. So my reload speed is off the charts because of this, because I have skills for it, and now I'm getting an extra 22%. So the plus 5 skills. What skills are you getting boosted? Headshot, 40%. And, you know, it has 10 skill points invested into it instead of 5. So that's really good. 40% headshot damage now. 50% reload speed. This is admittedly getting wasted, but I don't mind because the skill's trash. Now my melee does 1000% extra damage. That's really good. And Iron Hand. Well, remember when I said I would cover the skill in my gear guide? This is why. Because I said it wasn't really that good at 15%, but now it's at 30%. 30% melee damage for free, really good. And also, that 15% max health was trash, but now it's 30% max health, which it's not nothing because Zero really struggles to survive, and this, you know, it kind of helps with that. So it's a big deal. And this is the part I really like. If you read the bottom of the text right there, it says using deception instantly restores 10% of your max health. So you see my health right now? It's not maxed out, right? Boom, it's maxed out. Because it gives me 10%. So that's probably Zero's best way to recover health. Because you want to go into deception basically all the time, right? With this, you can. So that's a big deal. So, the legendary sniper. So before I even get into anything, look at the passive stats at the top, right? So, you know, yeah, it boosts my gun damage with snipers, big deal. I don't really care about that. Look at the shield capacity, minus shield capacity. The minus shield capacity, this is a level 30 shield for a reason, right? The shield is level 30, and it doesn't have as much shield as this takes away from me. So my shield is now 0. Why do I want my shield to be 0? Because this specific shield when it runs out of shield, like say an enemy breaks it, you gain movement speed. Why do I want movement speed? Because there's a lot of farming you have to do in this game. So, you know, if I ever have to farm something, then I need to move quickly. And with this skill setup, or not skill setup, I'm sorry, with this gear setup, I can run a little bit faster. I'm not sure if you guys can really tell the difference. Let me put on a different shield. This is my run speed, right? Now, whoops, wrong shield. Now this is my run speed. Hopefully you can tell the difference. And then if I activate Innervate, I can run that much faster. It's not a big deal, but, you know, it's a big enough deal for me to warrant running a different, running this shield. I don't use that combo very often though. So let's get into the actual class mod, because that had nothing to do with the class mod. So, sniper gun damage. I said it was nothing. It's actually pretty important. This is a legendary sniper class mod. Of course you want to be using it with snipers, right? And those passives are huge. 50% gun damage on sniper. I mean, that's almost double your damage. And 50% critical hit. If you get a critical hit, that basically is doubling your damage, because 50% gun damage on top of 50% critical hit damage. I mean, that's over 100%, so yeah, doubles your headshot damage. And if you're using a sniper, you should be getting headshots anyway. Like, if you're using a sniper and you can't headshot, then why do you want to be a sniper? So, if you do want to be a sniper, this class mod, God tier. Okay, so, it gives you +5 to those specific skills. What are those skills? Well, headshot. Headshot, yeah, really good skill to boost. Nothing to it. Precision. This, I don't understand, actually. I know it seems kind of self-explanatory, like, oh, if you're a sniper, you want accuracy, but you actually, surprisingly, don't. Why don't you want accuracy on the sniper? Well, because snipers are fucking snipers, right? Like, if you're missing with a sniper, trust me, the sniper isn't the problem. Like, it's you, right? You're the one who's missing, not the sniper. So, improving the accuracy on your sniper isn't going to make you a better marksman. That's going to be all on you. So, improving the accuracy doesn't do anything. That's why I'm kind of confused as to why this is a part of it. But I wouldn't say it's irrelevant. Because sometimes I'll use the sniper class mod on different weapons. You don't have to use snipers to use this class mod. This class mod is flat out good because of the skills it boosts. So what does it boost? Well, it boosts this. Look, it used to be 60%, now it's 120%. That's a lot of extra damage. So, yeah, that's a big deal. I prefer the Legendary Hunter though. It's just what I mainly use on a day-to-day basis, because it boosts a lot more skills that I want. Notably, it boosts 3 skills. Headshot, Fast Hands, and Killing Blow. This is just a bonus, and this I don't care about. And it gives me those passive effects, and it gives me that 10% health regeneration, so, you know, this is the class mod I use day to day. Plus, it looks cool. The Legendary Hunter, yeah, that has a better ring to it than the Legendary Sniper to me. Okay, so my grenades. The electric chair. This grenade's cool. Yeah, not much to say about that. Those actually little shock things will shock enemies that get near you. And you saw how it almost broke my shield. Keep in mind, this is one of the bigger shields in the game. And not only did that little piece of it do that to me, but there's a lot more damage to be had with this grenade. Like, look at that, I almost broke my shield off of a little tap. Imagine if I was over there in the center. I probably would have died. In fact, you know what? We're gonna test that. Yep. It flat out kills me. That grenade is very powerful. Also, that's what dying looks like. Very fun. You probably don't ever want to die despite how fun it is, but, you know, if you do, at least you'll know it's very fun, right? So, cool. So let's move on from that grenade, because all you need to know about it is it does high damage in a large area. This grenade sucks. Yeah. I'm gonna sell that grenade. The magic missile. So this grenade's awesome. Because, so let me tell you about the elements in this game, right? You have, slag. This weapon is slag. You have fire. This weapon is fire. You have explosive. This weapon is explosive. You have, corrosive. This weapon is corrosive. And, yeah, I think I covered all. You have shock. I don't have any shock weapons on me. But, yeah. So, what do they all do? Shock is good against shields. Fire is good against, enemies with red health. Like, normal health. Like, think of, like, wildlife. Think of, like, human targets. And things like that. Actually, shields, you know, what shock is good against, resist both, shields resist acid health, or I mean not acid health, what am I saying? Shields resist, corrosive damage, which is acid damage, I guess, and they resist fire damage. So, shields are kind of tough to take down, at least not in this game, but like in other Borderlands series, shields are pretty hard to take down, so using shock weapons is pretty recommended. Why am I going into all this anyway? Well, because slag is the most important element in this game, in the entire game. What does it do? It makes it so your other weapons do 3 times as much damage. So, that has nothing to do with my character, that has nothing to do with anything, right? That's just a flat out damage boost. So, you know, I'm just gonna equip this real quick. So, I'll explain what this gun does later, but, you know, it does that much damage, right? Now he's slagged, so he's all purpled. Now I'm doing that much damage. Well, why is the number varying? That's weird. Anyway. So yeah. This grenade, it doesn't do a lot of damage. Actually, it does a surprising amount of damage, but I don't use it for the damage. That's my point. I use it to slag enemies, and it has the bonus effect of slowly regenerating my grenade ammo. So instead of having to go to the store and regenerate ammo, or I mean not regenerate ammo, in order to, instead of going to the store to buy grenades, I can just slowly regenerate grenade ammo. So look at my grenade count, and I'm sure in a little bit you'll see it. So it's 6 right now, right? So I'm just gonna waste time. Yeah, now it's 7. You see? So just off of this, I can get all my grenades back. So this is my day-to-day equipped grenade. Really good. Relics. What do relics do? Well, my relics all give me extra damage, but typically relics, you know, can do a multitude of things. The best ones, in my opinion, are the ones that give you damage. So this one gives me explosive damage. I don't use that many explosive weapons, but I use enough to warrant picking this up. And this is a green rarity. Green rarity is kind of shit, but I'm using what I got, right? Like, I have a lot of pretty good rarity gear. This is the only thing I use that's green, so I need to get a better one, but, well, what can you do, right? Okay, so, incendiary. So, this gives me fire damage, and it gives me cooldown rate. So, this is infinitely better. But it's not the best. This basically does the same thing, but it gives me acid, corrosive damage. I keep saying acid. And this does the same thing, but it gives me shock damage. This is the one I use the most, because, not because I use shock the most or anything like that. In fact, I don't even have shock weapons on me. But it gives me the most cooldown rate because it's the one with the best stats that I currently have. Like, these two are the same thing, right? But the shock one's the best version of it I have. And there's no explosive Bone of the Ancients, unfortunately. So that's why I don't have an explosive version of this. So yeah. Cooldown rate, really good. 50% and 40% off of this. So my skills, or not my skills, my gear gives me more than enough cooldown rate. So, you know, look at my cooldown rate now. It's supposed to be 15 seconds, and I don't know if you want to time that, but that definitely wasn't 15 seconds. So yeah, really good. This, I'm actually gonna sell that. I don't know why I have that on me. Okay, so this is a big deal. So let me take it off, right? So ignore the damage, right? Just pay attention to the fire rate, okay? And then if I put this on, and you probably couldn't tell the difference, but the point is, so you remember why I was saying Two Fang is good? You know, 30% extra chance to fire twice off of one trigger pull. This makes that chance go up by 39%. So 39 times, or plus 30, that's 69%. Hey, 69. 69% chance to fire twice off of one trigger pull. So more often than not, when I pull the trigger once, it's gonna fire twice, like you're seeing right now. I'm only pulling the trigger once. You know, like, even if I wanted to, I can't pull the trigger that fast. Like, you know, humans cannot pull the trigger that quickly, so that's a big deal. That's a lot of damage coming out really quickly. So, that's a really good, good thing to have. This is the most specific relic I have, but it increases my assault rifle damage. Now, you know, why wouldn't I just equip this instead of equipping this, right? Like, why wouldn't I just go fire rate above damage? Well, because if you go fire rate above damage, sometimes you waste ammo. If you can just do more damage, you wouldn't waste so much ammo, right? And this is an assault rifle, by the way. So, now I'm doing more damage. So, typically, I'll use this more often, but if I want to have fun, I'll use this, because, yeah, I get to go full auto. Who doesn't like that? So, we're gonna use this for now. Actually, no, we're gonna use this. Not for any specific reason, just to show off the weapons. So, here are the weapons we're gonna show off. We're gonna start with, yeah, we're gonna start with, do I have any more assault rifles? No. So we're gonna start with the assault rifles I have. So, the Thompson. This is a basic engineer. Okay, so both these guns you can think of as the same thing, right? They both do high damage, and yeah, that's kind of it. They're just basic high damage assault rifles. So what's better about, or what's good about the Thompson? Well, here's the damage on normal hit, but it has bonus critical hit damage built into the gun. So it does a lot more on a headshot. And look at my magazine size, 63. So I can spam this all day, and if I'm getting a headshot, that's a monstrous amount of damage coming out. Like, I'm not even kidding, this will annihilate most enemies. But this guy's immortal, so he's fine with it. So, yeah. In fact, you'll notice, this is my favorite gun in the game, and this isn't doing as much damage, right? This is actually doing more damage on a headshot. So then, why do I like this gun better? Well, the magazine size is smaller, that's kind of a downside. But look at what happens if I shoot it at a range. I get extra bullets. I briefly covered that in my skills video, but this gun doesn't have that, so... yeah, those extra bullets are actually a big deal, because now, I'll pull the trigger, you know, twice. I mean, I'm pulling the trigger once, actually, but, you know, zero fires twice because of the skills. I'm getting a lot of damage really quickly. Like, look at the amount of numbers coming out of him, and if I use this, it's just not the same. Like, yeah, it's fast, and it's a lot, and I don't have to reload, but this is more ammo efficient, right? I'm firing less bullets, but I'm getting more bullets out. That's kind of weird how that works, right? So, this is a really good weapon. Okay, so the saw bar. I actually have to go outside to show you this. Actually, I'll give you a brief demonstration here. So it's a basic fire weapon, right? It's a light machine gun. kind of what you expect. So why do I carry it? Because if I shoot at a target that's far away enough, this is what it'll do. And those extra fire explosions actually do a lot of damage. So this is a very specific weapon that I use to kill a very specific boss. So let's cover pistols. So we covered assault rifles. So here are my pistols. Which one to start with? I'll start with the Infinity pistols. So these two are the same weapon, they're just different elements. So this is the neutral element, this is the corrosive element. By the way, neutral element just means that it has a lack of an element, that's all it means. It's basically a normal weapon, and this is the same weapon, but acid damage instead. So what's good about this gun? Well, it carries 1 in like, the ammo is 1, right? But it doesn't use bullets, so I can just fire this all day. And the important thing to remember about this is it's always at its max magazine size, which is a big deal because remember this skill? The first shot fired from a fully loaded magazine deals increased damage by 60%. This is always firing from a fully loaded magazine. So it kind of has that 60% gun damage for free all the time, forever time. So yeah. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So, let's wait for that damage to stop. Okay, so, hang on. I'm trying to pull the trigger once, but Zero keeps firing twice. Okay, so, yeah, you can see the damage. 1,129. Now, if I, wait, what am I doing? Oh, yeah. Now, if I get the Legendary Sniper, which the Legendary Sniper boosts my damage to 120%, right? Well, let's see what my damage is now. 138. Not 100. 1,380. That's a lot more. Is it a lot more, actually? We'll see. Yeah, it's a lot more. By like 200k more. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. So, the Infinity it's kind of overrated in the Borderlands community, but I kind of think because it's overrated, it's also kind of underrated. That's kind of weird, right? But like, what I mean is, a lot of people think this is the best weapon in the game, and this is far from the best weapon in the game. But, this is a good weapon. Okay, so let's cover these two pistols. So the Unkempt Herald. This is actually in contention for the best weapon in the game. Why? Look at all that damage. It's hard to explain why it's doing so much damage, so I'll just simplify it to this. Every time you pull the trigger, ignore the fact that it's firing twice, right? It actually fires a shit ton of projectiles. So you'll notice every time I fire, I actually lose like, what is it, like, yeah, I lose 6 ammo every time I pull the trigger once. And if the double shot triggers, I lose like 12 bullets per trigger pull. So it's a really expensive gun to fire because you're losing a lot of ammo considering how many trigger pulls you're getting, right? But look at the amount of damage it does. Now, all those numbers are kind of mixed up, and they're all big numbers, so it's like, it's hard to tell what's even a good number anymore. But this is one of those guns where you don't really have to aim it. You can just kind of walk around and be like, hey, I don't really care, I'm just gonna fire your general direction, and you're gonna die. That's why this gun's really good. Okay, so the Grog Nozzle. What's good about this? A couple of things. One, it's a slag weapon. That alone makes it good enough. And for a pistol, it has a really high slag chance, and it has a ×2 effect on my personal Grog Nozzle. So that slag chance might as well be doubled, because if you're triggering that twice, it might as well be a doubled chance, right? That's how humans like to think about percentages. If you try to trigger a 25% chance, you're going to get that 1 out of 4 times. But if you try to get that 25% chance 2 times, humans like to think of it as now being a 50% chance. In reality, it's actually still a 25% chance, but humans are illogical, so, you know, because of that, we might as well double that. So yeah, being illogical humans, this has a high slag chance, and it has a, it has a way of stealing life. So all the damage that you do while you're holding this actually gets transferred into your health. So if ever I'm low on health, you're going to see me pull this weapon out, damage an enemy, and my health will come back pretty much instantly. So, yeah, that's really good about this gun. So let's move on to rocket launchers. I don't use rocket launchers very often. There's no real reason for it. I just don't like them that much. So, yeah. This I use because it's a good way of clearing out rooms full of robots, because robots have armor health, and the armor gets melted by acid. At least in this game. So the corrosive damage, the green damage you're seeing, that would destroy robots pretty much. This weapon does a couple of things. So I don't use this weapon for the actual damage. Does it do a lot of damage? Normally, yes, but this is a level 1 version of this weapon, so this weapon does shit damage. So why do I have it? Rocket jumping. Except, I kind of suck at it, right? So normally I wouldn't be able to get up here in one jump. See? But, if I rocket jump, well, I way cleared it, right? And if I rocket jump again, I can get to areas I normally wouldn't be able to get to. I'm falling here. Anyway, you get the point, right? You see me jump to areas, like, you're really not supposed to be able to get up here, but, you know, rocket jumping lets you do that. This gun has a very simple purpose. So those are the projectiles it shoots. And this weapon, I kind of have to explain with a shotgun, a particular shotgun. So I'm going to do that. So just keep in mind, I don't have this gun... Wait, where's my shotgun? Where is my shotgun? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to get the shotgun. So I don't really carry shotguns on me. I really should, but I haven't farmed enough on this character. So that's what that shotgun does. Ignore the fact that, like, it does terrible damage. This shotgun sucks. And it's slow at everything it does, pretty much. But there's one thing it has going for it, right? So, let me equip these in the right slots. Yes, this does matter. Anyway. Okay, so, you see all those tiny little explosions? This weapon does the highest damage in the game, right? Now, imagine... if I do that, all those tiny little explosions will get the same damage that this rocket launcher does. So, here's what I mean, right? Let's go to the training dummy, so you can see numbers off of this. So, those aren't big numbers, right? Now what happens if I swap? Those numbers went up drastically, because the tiny little explosions that this gun fires off is actually being transferred to this shotgun. Or I mean those little explosions. So every little explosion that is being fired off there, if I swap quickly enough, will get transferred this weapon's damage. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, you saw the effect in there. These two weapons will destroy, like, some of the biggest bosses in the game. Now, it is a glitch, right? It's not intended by the developers to work that way, but it does anyway, and sometimes this game... I don't want to say it's too hard, because this game, in my opinion, is kind of easy. But once in a while, this game will just piss you off, and glitches are looked down upon by, like, not the competitive community. This game doesn't really have a community anymore, but at one time, when, you know, like, people do keep progress of, like, how fast they can kill bosses and stuff, and typically glitches are looked down upon in that kind of community, and by the developers. So if you're the kind of person that uses a lot of glitches, people typically don't really like you that much. So I try not to use this that much, but hey, let's be honest, sometimes we all just want an I win button, right? Sometimes life just gets to you and you just want to fuck some shit up and not hear any of it from your enemies. Okay, so SMGs. I'm sorry, this video is getting to be really long, but I have a lot of weapons, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. What weapon do I want to start with? I'll start with the Slagger. This gun I have at level 50, which is kind of weird because I'm level 80 myself, right? Why would I have a level 50 weapon? Because I don't use this weapon for damage. I use this weapon for slag. And that's pretty much it. This is like the way to spread slag really quickly. Why? Because it has a shit ton of bullets and it sprays an area really quickly. So boom, whole room slagged. And that's it. That's why this gun's called the Slagger. Because that's all it does. Slag. Okay, moving on. Ooh, this gun is very interesting. How do I explain it? So, let's start with the name. The name is foreign. The Stopping Lascaux. Not sure what language that is, but it's pronounced the Lascaux. It's not pronounced the Lascogs. It's not pronounced the Las Cogs or some weird shit. It's just the Lascaux. You can fight me on that. You can go into Google Translate. You can do whatever the hell you want. And if you prove me wrong, good job. But I've mostly heard it called the Lascaux, so that's how I'm gonna call it. It does decent damage. It has decent accuracy. It has a really high fire rate. Despite like the fact that on the card it doesn't show a high fire rate, it's actually a really high fire rate. And it has a good reload speed and magazine size. So that's the reload speed. And magazine size 37, pretty good. And this weapon has a weird effect where if you fire at the wall, it'll form a picture of a bull. I know it might not look like it, but that's a bull. And if you don't believe me, then I'll do it again. And there's another bull. And if you still don't believe me, I'll do it again. And there's another bull, except that one's horn is all fucked up. I don't know why. Maybe because I fired at an upwards angle, but yeah. This gun is pronounced, is called the Gun of the Bulls, like you can see the red text there. Because this gun's based on caveman drawings. Like when the developers made this gun, they were thinking about like the original primitive caveman drawings that were found, you know, way back when, you know, by archaeologists. So I think that's really interesting that this gun kind of hints at some real life stuff. That's pretty cool. And it does a pretty good damage. And it does a lot of it. So, yeah. Not much to say. Really good. The Sandhawk. It shoots a lot. The way I like to think of it is like a long-range shotgun, right? Like it shoots a lot of bullets, and they're really slow bullets. And the reason this gun's called the Sandhawk is because if you fire it, it looks like a bird, right? So, yeah. One of the best weapons in the entire game. And that's why I have it. So, what's this gun called? The Infection Cleaner. This gun could do jack shit, and I would still carry it. Why? In fact, I don't even know. Yeah, this gun has terrible stats. At least the one in my possession. So why do I carry it then? Well, as with a lot of guns I carry, I don't carry it for the... Oh god, that was coming to kill me. As for a lot of weapons, I don't carry them for damage. The weapons I do carry for damage have a very specific purpose, right? They just do damage. But the weapons I don't carry for damage also have a very specific purpose. And that's more nuanced. This weapon, if you look at my ammo count, it's been regenerating the whole time I've been talking. Now, if you think that happens with any gun, it doesn't. My ammo count's not going up. But when I swap to this, it goes up. And that's pretty much the only reason I carry it. Because if ever I want to use a bunch of SMGs, I can just have this equipped, regenerate my ammo while I'm running around and questing and talking to people, And boom, I skipped a trip to the gun store because ammo, it's not expensive, right? I can buy ammo all day and it's not a big deal. The problem with it is sometimes you can't make a trip to the ammo shop like all the time, right? Like you don't want to be going from the ammo shop constantly because then you're not getting much questing done. So yeah, that's kind of like the only reason I have that. I know that was a very simple explanation, but it was a very simple reason, so that makes sense. Okay, I have 5 snipers and I only have 4 slots, so I'll explain one and then I'll swap it out. This is a sniper without a scope. You know what, because of that I'll start with this one. Yeah, this is a sniper without a scope. It's bolt action, and it does a lot of damage. Actually it doesn't do that much damage. Yeah, this gun kind of sucks, but I like it. This gun sucks, but it's really cool. Also, my double firing skills are triggering, making it fire twice, despite the fact that it's bolt action. That's why I was saying those double fire skills are really good. They're not actually that good with snipers, though. I know that sounds weird, like, but yeah, it's just how it is. Okay, so I'll start with this gun. This is the Amigo Sincero. This does really high damage. It has no element, so I don't have to use it against a specific enemy type. I can just use it. Does a lot of damage, and it has a special effect of ignoring shields. So if this guy had a shield, which he doesn't, but if he did, trust me, this would ignore his shield, and it would shoot directly past into his health. And that's a big deal for a couple of reasons. One, you know, shields are kind of like a second health bar, right? And if you gotta rip through 2 health bars, you're not gonna get a one-shot very often. This weapon doesn't have that problem. Plus, it has a melee attachment. And that melee attachment actually does do something. It gives you a 50% extra melee damage. Normally, that would be shitty. I would say that's terrible. But Zero likes melee damage, right? So, yeah, that's actually relevant. On other characters, it's irrelevant, though. So, let's move on. The Snider. That's what this gun's called, the Fashionable Snider. This weapon has nothing special about it. It has nothing going for it. It has decent stats across the board, but there's nothing unique about it. So why do I carry it? Not for damage. I'm going to keep stressing that. For slag. So I already have a couple of slag weapons, right? So why do I have another one? Well, notably, this is a sniper slag weapon. And there's an important thing about slag in this game. You can never have enough of it. Because I'm sure you're going to see when I get into actual gameplay, if my luck with slagging enemies is bad, then I'm going to wish I had access to more slag. And that's exactly what this is. More slag. Now, it's kind of weird, right? It has a 60% chance of slag, or a 69.9% chance of slag. 69. But, it actually has kind of a ×2 effect on it, because when I fire, it has that little explosion. And, I'll wait for slag to run out on this guy. If I hit him directly, no shit, he's gonna get slagged, but watch this. I didn't even hit him, but he got slagged anyway. You know why? Because that little explosion. That explosion has a chance to slag multiple enemies. So if I just start firing at the ground near people, I can slag an entire room. That's why I carry this. And keep in mind, this weapon doesn't even have a special effect. So that's pretty good for a weapon without a special effect. Okay, so the Sherry ME. It's basically the same thing, except there's one notable exception. So this weapon I also carry for slag. It's a slag weapon, makes sense. But it creates those little health orbs, and if I'm low on health, it'll heal me. So this is kind of like a medic sniper, kind of. Now, I'm playing by myself, so it doesn't... Yeah, I had bad slag luck there. But, I'm playing by myself, so you won't really see me pull this out very often, but when I do, yeah, it's a good weapon. It does its job without complaint, and, you know, yeah. So this is the headshot machine. Why? yeah, if you're hitting someone with a sniper this many times, they're gonna die. I'm not even gonna go into this weapon because that should speak for itself. Yeah, some of the highest damage in like any weapon class, honestly. Like, okay, so individually, the bullets don't do more damage than something like this, right? Individually, the bullets aren't that strong. But it's because you're firing so many of them that it's a big deal. And, like, the only problem I would say the gun has is sniper ammo is the rarest ammo type in the game. And this is full auto, and it carries 26 ammo. I only have 132 sniper ammo. That's how much I can carry, right? So this weapon kind of burns through my ammo reserve, so I only really use it for boss fights. But yeah, that's been all my weapons, all my gear. So if I'm gonna show you what my day-to-day gear setup looks like, it would be something like this, right? Hang on. I apologize, this is taking forever. Typically, my setup looks something like this, right? So this is my main weapon, the one I use most often. Oh, right, I forgot this. So this is the main class mod I use, because this is the main weapon I use. So of course I'd want to boost the damage on my assault rifle, and this gives me flat out assault rifle damage. And the reason I use this gun most often is because it has that multiple bullet effect, and it has bonus critical hit damage, and Zero is a character that benefits off of critical hit damage, and this is a non-elemental weapon. And I was saying, like, you know, non-elemental is just the lack of an element, but non-elemental kind of means one extra thing. It means that your gun, because it doesn't have to worry about extra elements, it's free to have extra damage, flat out. So a weapon like this, right? It'll do slag damage, but because it does slag damage, it does less actual damage. This weapon doesn't have that problem. So I can just, you know, do extra damage, and I keep saying, but I'll reiterate this. Doing extra damage on top of having critical hit damage is a good thing. And Zero is a character that loves critical hit damage, and he loves high damage weaponry. This is both. And remember, this weapon can really spam into enemies if I have to, so this is a monster, and is very ammo efficient too. Like, I'm spamming it, so I'm not being very ammo efficient, but if I want, I can flat out take out enemies in singular shots, which is kind of special in this game, because weapons kind of burn through ammo in this game. Like this weapon, right? I was saying this weapon wastes ammo pretty quickly, but this weapon I don't use very often. I either use it to take out a badass enemy, like enemies that are really big and chunky, that this weapon can't deal with effectively, or maybe I'm just like, an enemy is really close up, right? Sometimes I'll use it on a weak enemy that's just too close. It's like a shotgun. And I'll also use it when I die to pick myself up, because if you die, you can actually pick yourself up. What do I mean by die and pick myself up? What I mean is, like, in this game when you get downed, like when you saw I had the grenade, I'll go down, and I'm actually, if there was an enemy around, I could pick myself up by killing him. And if that person died, I mean, there's not a person there, but imagine if that was a person, they died, I would instantly get back up. So it's a good weapon to pick myself back up with. So then how do I explain the other 2 gear slots, right? Or the other 3. A lot of gear slots, but hang on, once I spawn, I'll explain what I mean. Okay, so yeah. So this is the grenade I'm using most often. This is the class mod I'm using most often. This is not the shield I'm using most often. I'm using the blockade. I already explained why. But typically I'm using this sniper to slag rooms of enemies, and I can slag them at long range, you know? And like, this weapon's good at long range. It's not too good close up. It can do it, but it's not too good. So yeah, this weapon's kind of self-explanatory, but so is this one. This is also a slagging weapon, but it doubles as a health weapon. And I probably shouldn't have 2 slagging weapons, but I do anyway, because you can never have enough slag. And Normally you have 4 weapon slots. Normally you would cover all your elements with multiple weapon slots. The reason I don't is because non-elemental is good against everything except armored enemies. And I'm not actually worried about armored enemies because even though they resist non-elemental damage, Zero does so much damage that he just kind of doesn't give a fuck about that. So yeah, I can deal with any enemy type unless they resist non-elemental, which there aren't many enemies that resist non-elemental, and if they do, sometimes I can power through it. So, and I have explosive damage. Explosive damage is like non-elemental, but kind of better. The only problem with it is non-elemental is just straight up bullets, right? Straight up bullet. But this has less precision, right? Explosives aren't very precise weapons. They're not very accurate. They do have splash damage, but they're not very accurate. So off of these 2 weapons, I can kill most enemies in the game. Just off these 2 weapons. If I ever need to swap, I'll go into my backpack and swap. But I rarely need to do that. And with these 2 weapons, I have a lot of slag going out. But that's not enough slag. Like, say I want to shoot that guy, but I don't have enough time to swap with it. I can just throw a grenade, multiple enemies get slagged in the area, and I can just continue with my firing. So that's why I have a slag grenade, because I'm not going to get very much use out of different kind of grenades, right? So yeah, that kind of covers everything. So I hope I didn't like talk your ear off. I would recommend playing this video. I probably should have said this at the beginning, but I would have recommended playing this video, and most of my videos for that matter, in the background. While you watch this series, I recommend playing my videos in the background so you can do other things while you watch my videos. Maybe play some games on your phone, and just kind of hang out with me while I'm playing these games. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed, and next time we'll actually be shooting things. I'll actually be doing quests and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time.